Okay, everybody, so you got to see our first video, the introduction, showing you what kind of animations we're going to make. And with this first video, we're going to start out with the craps table. And I think we'll start with the dice. And from there, we'll build the craps table itself, put some surfaces on everything, and then we'll get into layout, animate it, and render it. And then we're going to do the same for the other projects as well. I think it'd be nice to do a full complete set so you can work on one, go ahead and do it on your own, then work on another, rather than just jamming all the modeling together and jumping around. And it'd be nice to have one complete project. So, with that said, here we are in Lightwave Modeler 9.6. I'm working on a Mac G5. I believe I have 4 gigs of RAM, and my computer's about 4.5 years old. So, hopefully a new one will be in here soon, because more and more programs are coming out that don't work with this. So you're going to see that everything I'm doing works pretty well. When we get to calculating some of the dynamics, we might have to create some proxy objects for a few things, especially the dice here, because we're going to build them with some pretty high detail, and there's a couple of reasons for it. The first reason being because we're going to need to create the insets for the actual numbers. The second reason is going to be because we are going to be viewing them very close up, as you saw in the final animation. So with that said, I'm in the Create tab. I'm going to select the Box tool. I'm going to hold the Control key, and we're going to drag out a box, still holding the Control key, and just click in one of the other views. Okay. Size doesn't matter at this point. Our grid is our default 500 millimeter. You can see it down here at the bottom left. We're going to build the dice first, and then the craps table to match this. It doesn't really necessarily, it's all arbitrary at this point, because it's just going to be the two things. If we were building a full casino, for instance, for an architectural client, and had to be to scale, and we had a lot of other stock objects that were certain real world sizes, and we had to have everything match up, then it would be pretty important. But for this, we're building a couple of dice and a table, so this should be okay. Now, before you finish making this box, don't turn off the tool. Open up the numeric down here at the bottom, or press N on your keyboard. Turn on Smooth Edge, jack up the radius to about 120 or so, and if you want, zoom in so you can see a corner, so you can see an edge. You can see it here. Okay, and then you're going to increase the radius about 3 or 4, something like that. And if you move that back, you can zoom out just a little bit. Okay, and what we're doing is using the nice feature in the numeric tool that came out a couple of versions ago to round out those corners. You don't need any more than that. You can probably even go just to 2. Okay, because we're going to put our subdivisions on for this, so this will help our geometry levels. And I want my segments to be about 8 and 8 and 8, about that many all the way across. Okay, so we'll close that out and turn off the box tool, press F2 to center, and then the A key to fit, and you'll see there's our nice cube. Okay, going to Control S to save, and I'm going to put this, whoop, hold on a minute, and we'll create an objects folder, and we'll call this, we're going to say die, be a single one. Okay, I'm going to do Control S, and I'm going to save this again. Actually, you know what, I can just do it with my save incremental automatically. Save incremental, and now it's version 1. Version 001, that is. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is create our markings for this, our numbers, our dots. All right, so let's start with 6. We'll start with the most. Now, an easy and cheap way to do this is to really just come over to another layer, make a disk like this, and just kind of extend it out. I'm holding the Control key again, so it's perfectly constrained. Go like this. We're going to line that up, and then we can copy, oops, wrong copy, Command or Control C, and then I'm going to move it down and Command or Control V to paste. Go into the polygon mode, select one of these, and press the right bracket key to select connected. T key is our move, and you can even just press F2 to center this, and then holding the Shift key, you can, oops, excuse me, the Control key, you can move that over. Just so you know that's exactly centered. But again, we're not gonna actually do the whole thing this way. I just want to show you a cheap way. Copy this, move it down, and paste the original back. Okay, and you can just eyeball it, and then you can Shift V for the mirror and click right there at 0. All right, so there's our 6 dots. They're somewhat intersecting, so I'll hit the single quote key. That's 2 over from the L on my keyboard. And we can use Shift R. And on the Z-axis, that's looking right in front of us. You can see it up here if I rotate this view. Let's cancel this for a minute. You can see if you look right down that axis there, there's our Z. Z-axis, stencil, and we would create a surface on there. Stencil is actually for flat objects. You want to use the solid drill. I always mix those up. And I'm not going to worry about a surface right now, but we'll just do that. And you'll see that the background cuts out of the foreground. Okay, so you can then come in and take these polygons and, put a surface on each of those. The problem is we want to get nice and close to these. And it's kind of a cheap way to do it. Okay, it's good if you're just going to have a simple die in your scene that you're not really going to get too close to. The other problem is if you go to bevel it, maybe you could use smooth shift. It could work okay, but it's just, I'm going to show you guys something a little bit nicer. I mean, it works okay, but it's just, it's mediocre. And I know we could do better. So we're going to undo. Okay, we're going to get rid of all these. But Dan, you just wasted all of our time. No, I wanted to show you that that's just one way. If you're going to have a very simple object you need to build, and you're going to put it off to the side, that's fine. In this particular case, we're going to get nice and close on this, so we want this to be really good. All right, so what I'm going to do is come into the polygons that I need to eliminate, okay? And I might need to change my segments. I think I'll be okay if I did my calculations right. And what I'm doing is selecting, yep, good. Okay, selecting those polygons right there. Okay, so I've got 4, 4, and 4. And then I'm going to hold the Control key and lasso select those background. The reason it's selected through is because I'm in wireframe. And I'll do these as well. We're going to have to do these all one at a time. And a good bit of this whole course is going to be a little tedious. So a lot of people say they want a little more complete, so that's what we are going to do. Okay, I just moved those over, that selection of it. And then I'm going to delete them. Just press delete on your keyboard. Okay. And I like to use this view right here. I think that actually works a little bit better. Go to point mode. Okay. And also you can press S to save. Save this version. Our first version doesn't have the holes cut. This version does. And then you can even do a save incremental again. And version 2 now will be our next stage. And that way you can always backtrack. And I'm going to go like that. Select 2. You know what? I'm going to try something. I've not actually done this to see. I'm going to select all 3 here. Just 2 points in the right direction. Now be very careful not to select back in here at all. See that? Now I'm selecting points back there. Just be very careful to do that. If you do, hold the Control key and deselect those. Pay attention to how many points you have selected right here. I've got 6. Right? 2, 4, 6. All right, so back over here, let's go to Select Loop. Yeah, it did work. Good. And press P to make a polygon. Okay, so maybe not as tedious as we thought. Now, those might not work for us exactly because I can tell you right now the shading's a little off. So let me try this one more time. Let's go this way. 1, 2. Oops, got an extra one in there. Do it one more time. Select 2 this way, and let me just select loop. Press P to make a polygon. Now it still looks like it's giving me an error. Not so much an error. Well, let me show you what we're going to do. I'm just trying to make this as easy for you as possible. If you select these like this, do a select loop, press P to make a polygon. The reason we did that is because we want one polygon with all of these points all the way around it. Okay, before we actually had 4 polygons in each of these sections. Now we just have 1 polygon. But the problem is, you can see it's so dark, that's because it's non-planar. It's made up of more than 3 or 4 vertices. So that's okay, because what we're going to do is come over here, sorry, our Modify tab, and under Translate, under More, you're going to get Untangle. And just run this. And that's what it does. Okay, and that's why I knew there might be an issue with it. So let's deselect, and let's go this way. Do a select loop, hit P to make a polygon, and let's try this one more time. Okay, now it's doing what it's supposed to. selecting all that, but see how it rotates it? So we're just going to find the right angle for this. And I'm going to try it this way. And maybe even select 3 here. Select loop, press P to make polygon. Select the polygon. Nope. I think our first one's going to be the closest one. You can even try just selecting all of these. And I've had good luck going counterclockwise. Like that. Just maybe manually selection. And you see how that now isn't shaded funny? Okay, so that worked just fine for us. And then we'll go run untangle. And it turns that into a disk. A selection. Okay. And what's neat about this is that we're going to actually bevel that and turn our subdivisions, and we're going to have some really nice circles in there. So let me come in here. Let me see if I could do this one with a loop. Nope. Yeah, I think we're going to have to just select them manually. For some reason, the when you do the loop selection, it wants to connect them in a funny way. So if these points are not connected, press P. In the exact manner they should be, the untangle doesn't seem to want to go. That one did. Okay. Let me try and automate this. I'm going to select 2. Select 2. Select not those 2. Select 2, and we'll select 2. Go to select loop, press P, make polygon. Polygon mode, they're automatically selected because they were just created from those selected points. Modify, move, more, not move, untangle, and those worked fine. Okay. So a quick, easy way to do it. Now that's 6. Okay. And I'm going to press S to save. I'm just going to do a quick little thing here to show you what we're doing. You don't have to do this because we're not done yet. We're going to do this all at once. But see, I'm just going to bevel down it a couple of times like this. And then when I hit the tab key, look at those nice round circles we have. Very, very nice and smooth. And what we can do now is get in here with the camera really nice and close, if we wanted to. And that's much, much better than using the stencil option from earlier. Okay, so I'm going to undo, and we're going to move on to, oops, not that much. Right there. We're going to get to the next video, and we're going to finish the rest of this. We got 6 on one side, 5, 4, 3, and 2. So let's move on and finish that up.